The entire time I knew him, he only ever had one goal. To wipe out half the universe.
Finally, after 10 years of teasing Thanos, he finally arrives in Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War. Hi everybody, I'm Tom. I'm joined by Tim here immediately on my left, and hello. Batman has joined us apparently.
Just trying to protect my anonymity.
I thought it was Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey. I thought it was one of those.
Really? It's the bondage video.
It's actually
a
Batman mask.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
He looked like some kinky thing.
Yeah, thank you. Well, they didn't have a Deadpool mask at the costume shop, so I thought, just grab the only thing they've got.
Tim and Cameron are joining me today, thankfully, to review Infinity War, even though it's been out, it's been out nearly a month now.
It seems like it's been out for infinity.
Basically, if you haven't seen it already, you're never going to see it.
Either that or you've forgotten the original review.
But it's become the fastest film to get past $1 billion in the US box office.
Is it really?
So a lot of people have probably seen it.
There was a lot of years' hype that's been spent getting up to this point because it wasn't going to be a secret. Everyone knew what it was building towards, so it needs to deliver.
As I said in the intro, 10 years in the making. But let's give a quick, brief summary review. What did you think of Marvel Studios' Avengers Infinity War, Tim?
2 words I can use to very briefly describe it. One was
Very
epic, and the second was relief. Because
epic relief or relief epic?
Epic relief sounds like very no. It was it's like a sign you'd have above a dodgy massage place in something. Epic relief. Anyway, no, the thing is, it was epic in scale. It was shot in IMAX. The whole film was shot in IMAX, which was the first for a Marvel movie, and there was massive action and fights and scale and the stakes. Everything was huge and epic. But the relief came from the fact there'd never been a film like it where they had such a huge ensemble cast. Yeah. It was literally 10 years in the making, because they'd had these teasers after the end of every Marvel film. And if somehow it had been a bit shitty or hadn't delivered, it not only would it have been embarrassing just as a single film, but it would have sort of made all the last 10 years build up just, why did I sit after all those credits for this shit? But it paid off sitting after all those credits for me. Epic relief.
It was a good film. I thought you were going to say very good, but it was.
Oh no!
It was an epic relief.
Yeah,
I wasn't so much thinking I hope this is going to be good. Please don't let it be a letdown. I knew going in it was going to be good because everyone that reviewed it up to that point said it was just phenomenal in terms of what they pulled off. But it was a visually bombastic fucking orgy for the eyes, is my description of it. It was just lovely to look at, and it was well enough acted, and the storyline was good. It was nice seeing the Avengers getting the shit kicked out of them. It
is hard to take Cameron seriously with the Batman mask.
Okay.
But I see what you mean. But it's I would describe it as, if you've ever wanted to know what a movie that was just pure action scenes, 95% action scenes, we now know what that movie's like.
Well, it's a comic book film. Every fucking comic, or Western comic at least, seems to have this massive power struggle and these epic fights because it's supposed to be heroic, like Age of Mythology level shit, you know. So of course they've got to spend a lot of time on the action.
But the other thing is I'm not going to let anyone criticise this film by saying
I'm fucking shit.
By saying it didn't have enough plot, or it didn't have enough characterisation, because they've had 18 other films to build up to this story, to give you the characters. One of the irritating things that used to be very prevalent in superhero films was even if they were sequels, was there'd always have to be a bit of a film. I think every single Batman film, even Batman vs Superman, there's a bit of the film where they show his origin. Batman's origin.
The backstory.
And it's why? It's so boring. But they couldn't do that obviously with 30 people, but they didn't even attempt to touch on that. It wasn't really, for me, it wasn't like an Avengers film. It was more like a film about Thanos. It was his character we'd only seen in the shadows before, who'd come out.
It is Thanos, the movie.
Yeah. It's like a heist movie of Thanos and his gang nicking these jewels.
So he's...
Crime spree.
He's the main antagonist in this film. Every Marvel movie, there's one big main antagonist, and it's Thanos in this one. What's his motivation? Like, what does he want to do?
He's a nihilist.
Before you answer, let me...
That's what he wants to do.
Crack one open.
Prick his fingers.
When I'm done, half of humanity will still exist.
But yeah, I think it was a good. It was a good film. It's just I just think it made Thanos a bit weedy because you said what's his motivation?
Weedy?
Needy.
Oh, needy.
But it's his motivation in the film is for some reason some kind of almost altruistic like need to preserve the entire universe by killing half the population, thus extending those species' lifespans into the future by having enough to access.
Pretty much Malthusian.
And I don't like that in but I don't like that in Marvel films where they try to like redeem the bad guys and make them kind of I can kind of get why he's doing it. Well, it's like the Wakanda fucking the Black Panther film. I wanted the bad guy to win.
Killmonger.
Well, he was a really interesting character, but it was really good Black Panther.
Shit.
If you're a Black Panther fan, you'll be disappointed Black Panther doesn't get more screen time in this film. This is a spoiler review, isn't it?
Well, no one
so you'll be disappointed Black Panther goes, doesn't he?
No one got an amazing amount of screen time. I think Thanos and Thor pretty much got the most screen time.
I don't know. Iron Man got a decent fucking chunk.
Despite that, every character got their moment, got their moment to do something cool. Like even fucking War Machine,
even Mantis.
He got he was like doing loads of cool shit. War Machine. He had the carpet bombs out of his back, didn't he? That was really good.
I mean, Iron Man's armor's now ridiculous.
Iron Man did
bleeding
really well.
edge shit.
Yeah.
On YouTube, when it comes to Iron Man's armor, there's like tons of videos where it's every suit up every time he puts the armor on. They took the piss even by Iron Man 2. As early as that, they were taking the piss. Do you remember the suitcase one?
I love that.
That was such bullshit. It's like metal comes out of thin air. He's got this little suitcase. It was more like a briefcase than a suitcase. And he puts his hands down, and then the whole suit, like all these plates, just keep coming out of nowhere.
It's very thin, but very strong.
At least in this one, it's nanotechnology. I was kind of, all right, that's a little bit more.
Yeah. Do you know how they explained it in the comics in the 80s?
No, and I don't care.
In the 80s, before nanotech. You don't care?
So Thanos, he wants to kill half the universe because that will somehow... He's got like this sort of arbitrary...
I think...
Everything has to be balanced 50-50, so I'm going to kill half the universe.
But I think he's traumatized because his own civilization, it died out. There was a huge tragedy in his civilization, food scarcity, and he'd like tried to...
Overpopulation.
Yeah, and he'd tried to warn everyone, and they didn't heed his warnings, and it was terrible. So he's basically like he's one of these like traumatized people who's inflicting his trauma on the rest of the world. He's, that's how it spreads. But he achieves his goal, and that's the other crazy thing in the film that he.
Oh, spoilers!
Normally the bad guy loses, but the bad guy wins in this film, which is really the first, isn't it?
So I mean,
people should go in realizing it's a two-parter.
There was something cool little bit, but like I say, it could have been like really rubbish. It could have been like a mess. The other thing that amazed me, like I've seen a few films that are 2.5 hours, and normally by like the 2-hour mark, you're like, come on. But with this one, the time seemed to go very quickly. There was no, despite it being a long film, there was no downtime. It's like bang, 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 bang.
Because that's a common complaint I have against Marvel movies. The pacing is it's sort of like just next scene, next scene, next scene. With this, when it came to Thanos, they actually took their time with it. You got a moment to kind of feel what Thanos was feeling, which was new, I think, for a Marvel antagonist.
Yeah, I think it was new for a lot of like superhero films. Antagonists, they all seems like they're just the bad guy. You need to beat them.
Steppenwolf, what was his name?
Steppenwolf. Yeah.
Yeah, generic bad guy.
Yeah.
DC have been blown out of the water by this movie. This has basically cemented their Marvel and Disney's position in our entertainment now.
DC should really just quit now.
Yeah,
they're never going to be as good as the Marvel
they've got their TV series that they're happy with and they're making money from, but they're becoming shitter and shitter as well. Yeah, DC's lost the comic war, especially on multimedia fronts.
To bring this back to Infinity War,
it
was quite a funny film, as most Marvel movies are.
Yeah.
But it felt like this was the first Marvel film that actually had any real gravity to it in terms there was really something at stake.
I mean, I understand you always said that a lot of the other Marvel films, they lack that kind of fear of the character actually potentially failing or kind of, suffering serious
getting the
harm,
shit
because you
kicked
know
out
they're
of
just going to stay. They got staying power. And in this film, like, you knew people were going to die, but just watching them just get popped left, right, and centre, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, and but like the shocks kept coming. Like I said, the very early part of the film is like the first scene you see of the characters. You don't realise at first one of the bodies on the floor is Thor. Next to Thanos, and then like the Hulk comes out and gets his ass handed to him. He gets the shit beaten out.
I
of
like
him.
that kind of choke punch that was like directed at Hulk's like.
Yeah. Even Thanos was just like bobbing and weaving and getting like body shots and everything.
It was good though,
because he was fighting intelligently. But he was just as strong as the Hulk.
The choreography on the action scenes were really good in this film.
Yeah.
And it needed to be. There were so many action scenes.
There was a little bit too much twirly stuff with the staffs. There's a lot of stuff you can do with staffs, but they were twirling them too much.
Who had a staff?
Black Widow. Every single fucking Wakandan had a spear. Yeah. So like
same thing, but pointier.
At least these ones they actually shot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they had
AK-47. He mowed down the entire Wakandian army.
Oh, it was just the scale. It was incredible. I'm really looking forward to seeing it again, actually, on a cinema screen again. Yeah.
You watched it twice, didn't you?
Yeah. But I think that's why it's done so well. People have seen it loads of times.
Excuse me, but
I saw the first Avengers film. I must have seen 3 or 4 times.
In the cinema.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is excessive.
I really enjoyed it. I still enjoy that film a lot. Yeah. It's not been anything like. There'd never been anything like it. It's just this ensemble thing. It was like an experiment because they'd had all these.
Well, everyone keeps saying it's amazing how like it had such a big cast and they made it work. It's not that amazing to me. There's the proof of concept that taking these different comic book characters and putting them in a group.
Yeah.
Like that's been around since the 50s? When was Justice League started? 60s? Something like that. So the proof of concept was there. 2012, the first Avengers movie, I kind of thought this might be a mess. There's like 5 or 6 main sort of central characters. But they know the formula is you pair them up. You send these two off to this location, you send these two off to a different and they know how to do that.
Yeah.
What's most impressive to me is the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Extended Universe, what have you. We're 10 years into this, and this is the sort of almost high point.
Yeah.
There's there's more story to come. But it should have petered out by now. Like, I got a little bit bored, I got a little bit fatigued, but they still kept me enough that I made it to Thanos actually arrive. That's impressive to me. That's kind of the miracle.
And people obviously
Because look how badly
But
DC
they maintained your attention. That's the miracle.
Well, DC, I'm not going to watch another DC movie.
And if you think about it, the films have been successful, but people want to work on them as well because you get all these cool cameos. You get like people like Jeff Goldblum.
That wasn't he was an actual character. Matt Damon was a cameo in Thor Ragnarok.
That was
Michael Douglas.
Is he in one?
He's Ant-Man's, Henry Penn.
Or whatever.
Henry Penn. Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, no shit.
Kate Blanchett. You've got all these
movies make shitloads of money.
They can pull in the big
Meryl
name stars
Streep will
that
be
way.
in one. She'll be Captain Marvel.
Yeah, but isn't it cool that they've got all these that you get all these great actors, people who are really good actors in their own right,
Some
doing
of them
these
are
films
though, as well.
But it's great. It's just
Like Mel
it's just
Gibson will
lovely.
be in one.
It's like just comparing it to Justice League again. They're like a bunch of nobodies. Half of the Justice League, I wouldn't know them from Adam if I saw
Before,
them.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
After as well. But
How do we feel the characters have developed? The main Avenger characters.
Robert Downey Jr. He's done stuff with Tony Stark. There has been a character arc in Tony Stark's character, definitely over all the films.
He's the sort
and in this film as well.
Central force of these movies. He's definitely the number one draw.
But even in this film, like you say, no one gets a lot of screen time to themselves. Everyone gets a cool moment of action, but everyone also gets a little bit of character development. Like
Not really.
apart from Captain America doesn't, Black Panther doesn't, Tony Stark does. You know, it's
Well,
like
no, it's him being a hero, but at the same time coming to the ends of it, he was supposed to be getting retired. But it's like Lethal Weapon, man.
He's getting old.
He's Riggs. He's like 5 days away from retirement, and then this shit happens, and he's got to solve this like epic movie plotline. Yeah, exactly.
He's got the grey goatee beard. Everyone's a critic, so let's criticise it a little bit.
Yeah.
There were certain lines of dialogue. Well, I mean, the dialogue in general is 90% expository. Just telling you, we have to do this. This is how this works. Like, there's a scene where, I think everybody knows by now, that Thor's hammer was destroyed and now he gets a new one.
Yeah.
That entire scene, you're told step by step, this is what's happening. So even if you have never watched a Marvel movie before, you could follow the plot, even if you don't know who the characters are or why you should give a shit. Every line of dialogue told you what was going on. Were there any bits you thought were not up to scratch?
I wouldn't say up to scratch. I wish that Captain America got more screen time.
Yeah.
Because he's
had
cool.
quite a bit in the previous movies. To be fair.
Yeah, but anyway, that was... I can't really think of any other criticism. It was really good. I loved it. I can't really think of much good. The soundtrack, maybe that was more to do with the sound balance in my auditorium. The fact that there was a lot of people talking and shouting and screaming. So the soundtrack wasn't very memorable to me.
Well, some people say they have difficulty like remembering the Marvel music to the films. It's not like Indiana Jones or James Bond. These themes don't stick with our heads.
Guardians.
Like if you could play, some of them, I wouldn't necessarily recognise which superhero film it would come from.
I'd recognise
it as being like dynamic.
Yeah,
right, that's slightly different.
Black Panther, isn't it?
No, but the actual Black Panther theme. You know when they enter Wakanda for the first time, that music that's played. That was really good. It's a really good piece of music.
That's why you're wearing the Batman mask.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask, would you recommend Infinity War? Because whoever's going to see it has already seen it. Whoever's decided not to see it has already decided that.
I think...
Did they grab you and make you go, do you know what, I definitely need to see the next one?
Oh yeah, because it was a cliffhanger. I just want to, what a cliffhanger.
I know what's going to happen, but I want to see it.
Obviously, they're kind of glorified Saturday morning cartoons. The heroes win in the end, obviously. Everybody knows that. But, like, they don't have to give it away.
No, they're saying there is a way out of it, but it's unlikely.
Thing.
That's why they said there was only one.
And like it seems to.
But now that he's seen it,
but it seems to pivot on Tony Stark.
Why would you just close the entire genre? Because they're going to have films afterwards, so they need. It's got to end well. Yeah. But some characters might not make it back.
Some people died before.
Well, yeah, some people died before the big click.
Gamora.
Yeah, like Loki got strangled to death.
Thank God Loki's finally dead.
Yeah, he was getting pretty irritating.
He should have died 7 years ago.
He got a tiny bit of heroic, didn't he? At the end.
He fought too.
Yeah, he tried to stab him.
He gave a very stoic speech, didn't he? And then he died.
I'm now for your own son.
I expected more from Loki than just to try and like have a shank hidden behind him.
He's going right for his throat.
So Tim, you're definitely going to see.
I'm going to see
Infinity
it again.
War Part 2.
Yeah, but I'm going to see Infinity War 1 again because I really enjoyed it.
Cameron?
What?
Will you go see Infinity War Part 2?
Yeah.
Will you see 1 again though? Would you watch number 1 again?
Yeah, I'm tempted to like get a digital download of it. I think it was good. I think it was a good film, and I'd go and watch it again, and I'd go and watch the sequel.
I don't really... I liked Thanos. I've been waiting 6 years for Thanos to arrive and kick the crap out of the Avengers.
Yeah.
I don't really want to see Part 2 because it's not like... You can already see where it's going to go. The fact that he's tortured Nebula, the blue adopted daughter, so much, she's going to have an integral role in his downfall. You know that. Yeah. You know the Hulk is going to come back.
She did in the original, yeah.
You can tell already, do you know what I mean? They're setting up. You know the Hulk's going to come back and fight him and probably win with the help of the
put some licks
cast.
in, yeah.
And you also know, like even I saw it with a bunch of kids. Oh, well, maybe like 9, 10, 11.
Kids.
As I was walking out, they'll be fine. There's a new Spider-Man movie coming up, you know, like everybody sort of knows. That's why I think they're glorified Saturday morning cartoons. You know they lose at first and then they win. That's been
Yeah.
true since He-Man cartoons.
But it's very comforting.
Nothing's really at stake, and I like it.
I don't quite know where they're going to go. There's a lot of different directions they could go in, but I think they've sort of set the stakes. They need to actually go bigger in the next film.
How can you? It's so epic.
Well, you've destroyed like universe,
Asgard
but you can talk about multiverses and stuff, and getting into like real spoiler territory. So don't listen if you don't like spoilers. I saw some behind the scenes photos from the next Avengers film.
Really?
Yeah, and the ones they had, they basically had them wearing exactly the same costumes that they had in the Battle of
There's
New
gonna be
York.
time travel involved, surely.
Of the first Avengers film, yeah. So I think they're going to try and maybe go back in time and get the stones together before Thanos can create their own Infinity Gauntlet. But who knows? Maybe we'll get a new character coming in because like Kang or Immortus, some time traveler. It's exciting. I'm excited.
I'll hate them forever if this arc of Marvel Studio movies ends the way it started. If it ends with Iron Man in the backseat of the Humvee and like everything goes back to how it was except Thanos is dead.
Nah.
If they do that, I'll hate them forever and I'll never watch.
I don't think they do that.
I hope not. Anyway, that was us giving our thoughts on Infinity War.
It was awesome.
I think we're the last people on Earth to do this, but whatever. Tim, Cameron, thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye everyone. Thanks for watching. You've got to make us.
Deadpool.
We've got to make us all turn to dust.
Because you've not seen it.